tension is sky high, but these guys are seasoned pros, able to withstand any kind of pressure.
Hello guys, welcome back to Sim UK. Today, well, it's that time of year again where Milestone release their same old trash with an incremented number. But this year, there are some noticeable differences. So MotoGP 18 has finally released on the 7th of June 2018. On Steam at least, it's coming in at £40. £40. Just like to point out at this point that I paid £32 for Project Cars 2. But there you go, MotoGP 18 rolling in at £40 on Steam. If you look on the internet, you can find it for like 50% less than that. And that is a much, much better price. First thing I want to tell you about this game is the agreement that you have to accept or decline before the game even starts. Now, I declined it, and now I can't seem to get it to come back up again, so I'll try and get confirmation of what that is exactly. But the intrusive behaviour around a game that you've just bought and you're really excited to get into and start playing, and then you're forced to make this yes-no decision based on absolutely no information whatsoever before the game has even finished loading, I think is horrific. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's for, but I'm not impressed. Let me just tell you that much. Like I say, I've uninstalled the game, tried to reinstall it and find out what this message is all about. There was a link in the message telling me where I could go and read all the terms and conditions for whatever the hell it was, but because I can't get that back up, I can't go and figure out what it is. So I may or may not be able to tell you what that is, but I didn't like it, I can tell you that much. Anyway, I declined and the game installed. As many of you will probably know, the game has moved over to the Unreal 4 engine. And when a game transfers from one engine to a new one, you don't really expect too much. There are a few bugs. The most noticeable one is on the startup. The audio is missing. That's not a bad thing. But I'm sure that will get fixed at some point because it interferes with Milestone's logo and introduction and whatnot. You cannot currently change view unless the bike is moving. I can only assume that that is a bug, otherwise it's a really stupid feature. Something to do with the race start interference from Milestone themselves, no doubt. But I am going to surprise you, and in fact, I'm going to surprise myself here, guys. This one, I can't believe I'm going to say this. This one might be worth getting. Okay, now before you rush off and go and buy it or anything like that, this is my first look. I've had like an hour into the game, so I'm not definitely saying yes. I'm saying maybe. For £20 at least, with the important changes that I will cover later on in this video, this could be the first MotoGP since 13 that I'm actually going to recommend. Time will tell, and I do need to devote some real time into this game first. And it's the first MotoGP game where I really feel like I do want to devote some time to it. And then I'll release a full review, and then that will be my yes or no answer. At the moment, it's a first look. Ooh, maybe. Before we move on, I just want to discuss early access, beta testing, and the wonderful world that is YouTube. Why is it that Milestone never seem to involve YouTubers? I mean, we could help bug test so that there's none on release day. We can help improve quality. We can offer suggestions. We can request changes that the community actually want. We can make videos and give the consumer a heads up about the product, the good, the bad, and what's coming before release day. Now I have seen some MotoGP fanboys who got a couple of days early access. What bloody good is that? They themselves have only had a couple of hours to play the game. They need a week, they need 2 weeks to be able to give any kind of useful information to the consumer. A couple of days before release date. And these are guys who really like the game anyway. That just seems pointless. Anyway, hopefully Milestone will get the message. Maybe they'll even watch this video and they'll listen to what I'm saying and they'll take me up on my very kind offer to come and help you bug test. To come and help you create a game that everybody has wanted since MotoGP 13. Truth be told, I didn't help out with this one at all. Well, I say at all. I did go to Silverstone and speak to their boss and give him some headers and some ideas about what needs to happen. Maybe that message has got through, because this is very different in a number of key areas. Let's move on. So, we've got the new engine, Unreal Engine 4. It looks really good. The lighting and the shadows, as you would expect, are absolutely fantastic. I have noticed that the blurry wheel issue that you see in Train Sim World is also here. The performance on the PC is excellent. I'm going to say a solid 60 FPS on Ultra, but actually I'm more likely to be around the 75-95 FPS on Ultra. Very good performance. The audio... It's nothing special, it's okay. I think it's exactly the same as MotoGP 17, but then because they have changed engine, you shouldn't be expecting too much, because that's quite a big transition, so they will be taking shortcuts. I kind of understand that. As long as they don't go backwards, then it's progress. That's how I see it. In addition to that, the tracks are now accurate. I don't think they're laser scanned, but they do look a lot better, and more importantly, they actually feel right. They actually feel like tracks, whereas previously they felt like arcade tracks. Now they actually feel like they are real tracks. They are much better, I have to say. Kudos there, they've actually done a good job, and if they laser scan them next time, then we'll have the everything we need in terms of tracks. Honestly, it looks so good and it performs so well that within minutes I was actually excited. I haven't played MotoGP 17 since a couple of weeks after release day. Not once, not even for a minute. This game made me sit up and take notice almost immediately. The bike movement, or the rider movement, seems much sharper, and there seems to be more angles available to lean. I did find that the controller was pretty twitchy. I don't usually play with an Xbox 360. I have an HS2, fantastic device. Please go check out my review. Go check out IA Systems YouTube page. The HS2 is now the HS3. Anyway, that's a different subject, but I'm either using that or I'm using a G29. I don't really use controllers. I also don't know the tracks particularly well. I'm not familiar with the handling of bikes. What I'm trying to say is I'm crap at the moment. In fact, I'm probably crap even when I put some effort in. But I haven't really wanted to put a lot of effort in since MotoGP 13. So today is a very, very big day. I wanted to test the AI. So I jumped in, I didn't change anything, exactly default as it comes out of the pack. I found a track, I took a hard line on the first corner and I got wiped out 3 times in a row. I don't think much has been done here, to be honest. But remember, because there has been an engine change, you can't expect too much. And I know that sounds stupid, but not going backwards is a step forwards. When you go from a crappy engine to a powerful engine like Unreal Engine, and you don't take a step backwards, that is a positive thing. Now, despite saying what I've just said, I do kind of feel like, remember this is the first look, I do kind of feel like they're a little bit better, just a smidgen. This might be because of the faster movement and the reactions of the rider and the bike. It might be because I'm getting better FPS. It might be a complete illusion. Whatever it is, the AI still don't actively avoid your rider very much, in fact, at all. Some responsibility has to be taken by me for being in the wrong place, on the wrong line, at the wrong speed. But still, if you were a real MotoGP rider and some idiot came riding up on the inside of you, all kind of nearly out of control, you'd be avoiding him as much as possible. That doesn't happen here at all. So that is not better. The cutscenes look absolutely identical to MotoGP 17, and I do mean literally cut and paste. And they look so dated and so poor in comparison to the new models, which look awesome, by the way, that they really stand out as a weak point and just they're awful to look at. It looks like the track girls have had a bit of a touch up. The engineers, though, look like a copy and paste as well, but remember, new engine shortcuts will be taken, so I'm not too worried about that. It's a step forward, because we've got the rider models, which are good. We've got the player models, which I don't think existed before. They look pretty good. And yeah, the track girls look fine. So we're not going to go into the track girls conversation. We're just going to avoid that completely. New stuff. This is important because maybe they have actually listened for the first time. Maybe me and IA Systems going to Silverstone to watch the British MotoGP and talking to their boss has actually had a positive effect on this game. Maybe, just maybe. There's now bike damage. One hit could wreck your bike and put you out of the race. That's pretty awesome, right? I have semi-tested it. I've stacked it multiple times and sustained no damage at all. Certainly no damage that stops me from riding the bike. But the idea that they are heading in this direction, towards a simulated experience, that's pretty awesome. Tyre degradation. Yes, please, mummy. Manual starts. Tried it. There was little difference, to be honest. I still can't put the bike into gear until after the lights have gone green. So Milestone are saying the right things, but I'm not seeing it so much yet. But bear in mind, this is my first look. I've had like 2 hours maximum on this game so far. So anyway, these are just the headliners, the key points, okay? So I'm just going to quickly give an overview, and this is going to be the end of my first look, possible excited review, okay? It looks better than any MotoGP I've ever seen. There you go, I said it. I think it looks better, and that's all down to the Unreal Engine, the lighting, the shadows. It has a certain look about it, doesn't it, the Unreal 4 engine, but it does look better than what we've had before, so that is a definite improvement. The handling seems to be improved. It's much sharper, more versatile, better lean angles, more of. It certainly seems to react quicker to my movements on the controller. I'm very excited to get the HS2 out and give this a proper go, but there are about a million things I have to jump through before I can get to that point. FPS seems to be better, very stable. Unfortunately, those of you on console, you're going to be getting 30 FPS, not 60 that you got in MotoGP 17. I don't know if that's going to change. My instincts tell me not, but on the PC, very good FPS. The tracks, they look much better, and more importantly, they feel much better, and they look and feel way more accurate than they ever have done before. New features which sound more like simulation. They do behave like arcade, but at least it's a start. New player models and existing rider models have been updated, and they look fantastic. It has got the same old cutscenes, but again, new engine, shortcuts, blah 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 blah. The new engine does have that blurry wheel issue. I hope the Unreal Engine guys can get that sorted, because that's going to affect all upcoming racing AC games. In fact, any game with a wheel that turned relatively quickly. So let's just hope somebody somewhere is working on a fix for that. There is still no controller support. There's no calibration. As I say, I don't use an Xbox 360 controller for racing games at all, so I'm probably a bit too erratic with the movements, I don't know. But even though I'm not an expert at it, I did find it quite twitchy, very, very sensitive, and there's no way to calibrate it to your personal needs. So that's a bit of a shame. The physics are still poor. Let me explain. For example, losing the bike, losing the front or the rear end from over-braking is something that's based on a timer. It's not based on physics. It's so obvious. If you hold the brake down, you can kind of feel when you've had it held down fully on, by the way, not incrementally, but fully on. You can hold it down for 3.5 seconds, something like that. If you just let go then and put it back on, you're fine. But if you hold on to it for that 4th second, you're probably going to slide out. Now, the same doesn't apply to the front brake, obviously, and the rear brake is just a button. So, I mean, we have no analog, it's just digital, whatever. So, yeah, the physics are still poor, but I'm a little bit more hopeful now that the rider feels a bit more responsive. First look, remember, first look. This is what I can say is this is definitely one to watch out for. And if this isn't whetting your appetite fully for this game, then just imagine Ride 3 with these comments in place. That, for me, Ride 3 is almost a must-buy already. That's how much I'm enjoying this game in the first 2 hours. Now, I concede last year, MotoGP 17, I got pretty excited at the beginning, and it took about an hour to all fall apart and, you know, the reality to set in. I'm hoping that isn't going to be the case here. There are definitely some positive changes here, mostly from the Unreal Engine, but not entirely. There have been some seismic changes in the game itself from Milestone. Now, I said they're heading towards simulation. It still feels like arcade, but for the first time ever, the two things are being talked about positively in the same game. So I'm a little bit excited for this one. I'm going to put some serious time into this and come back to you with a full review once I have had enough time to correlate my thoughts on this game. Let's hope, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Till next time, goodbye.